June 7th, 1944, Normandy, France, 06:20 hours. Dawn crawls in low and gray, clinging to the hedgerows like damp wool. The air smells of churned earth, cordite, and wet leaves crushed under steel tracks. Somewhere beyond the bocage, an engine coughs, then settles into a steady mechanical growl. A Panzer commander peers through binoculars, breath fogging the lenses, eyes narrowing. Across a shallow rise, shapes begin to emerge. Turrets, antennas, long lines of them, American tanks, Shermans. The German crewmen exchange looks. Someone laughs. Not loudly, just enough to be heard over the engine noise. They've seen these before, in Africa, in Sicily. Thin-skinned, too tall, prone to burning. The nickname comes easily to mind. Tommy Cocker, the Tommy Cooker. You can almost hear the unspoken thought, "This again?" The Panzer commander lowers his binoculars. He's confident. He should be. His Panther's 75mm gun can punch through a Sherman from distances the Americans can barely dream of returning fire. His armor is sloped, thick, lethal. This is Normandy. Not the desert, but steel is steel. Physics hasn't changed. What he doesn't see yet is how many Shermans are coming. Months earlier, far from Normandy's damp fields, the laughter had been louder. In Tunisia, German tank crews watched burning M4s dot the desert like funeral pyres. Shermans knocked out with single shots, crews scrambling, hatches flung open, flames licking skyward. Veterans of the Africa Corps passed around stories the way soldiers always do, half-truth, half-bravado. Too high, too slow, too many bolts, gasoline engines that turned hits into infernos. Against Tigers and Panthers, the Sherman was a joke. And jokes, once believed, harden into doctrine. By early 1944, German training pamphlets still emphasized it. Engage American tanks at range, exploit superior guns, destroy them piecemeal. The enemy relied on numbers because they lacked quality. American industry could replace losses. German skill would prevent them. On paper, it made sense. On paper, the Sherman should not survive Normandy. Back in the hedgerows, the first shots crack the morning open. A Panther fires. The recoil shudders through the hull. A Sherman at the front of the column erupts smoke, sparks, flame. The German loader grins as he rams another round home. One down, just like Africa. Then the return fire begins. Not from one direction, from everywhere. High explosive rounds slam into the hedgerows flanking the Panther's position. Dirt and leaves explode inward. Shrapnel screams through branches. The commander ducks instinctively as American artillery, walks closer with mechanical precision. This isn't a duel. This is a system. Shermans surge forward in waves, not charging blindly, but spreading, halting, firing, moving again. Radios crackle inside every turret, voices overlapping, calm and practiced. Tank commanders pop hatches, exposed to enemy fire, waving their crews forward. Infantry shadows the armor, rifles and bazookas probing the green walls of Normandy. A second Panther fires and misses. The target is already moving. Another Sherman dies, then another. Flames rise. The Germans are winning the exchange. So why does it feel wrong? The answer comes 10 minutes later, when new Shermans roll into the gaps left by the burning wrecks. Fresh, intact, engines humming as if the losses never happened. The Panzer commander checks his ammunition, already lower than he expected. He checks his flanks. The hedgerows are alive now, American infantry crawling, cutting gaps, marking positions with colored smoke. Somewhere behind them, unseen observers call corrections to artillery batteries miles away. The ground shakes again. Closer this time, German doctrine prized decisive engagements, sharp blows, rapid destruction, battlefield mastery. But Normandy is choking, cramped, unforgiving. Fields no larger than tennis courts, sightlines measured in meters, not kilometers. Here the Panther's long-range superiority means less with every hedge, and the Sherman, mocked for its height, suddenly sees over the green walls just enough to spot muzzle flashes, not to kill, but to call them out. Moments later, steel rain answers. A Panzer IV nearby takes a hit not from a tank, but from above. Artillery tears through its engine deck. The crew bails out, one man on fire, stumbling into the brush. A medic won't reach him in time. The laughter is gone now. Inside the Panther, sweat trickles down spines despite the cool air. Orders crackle over the radio, fragmented, urgent. Hold the line. Counterattack. Withdraw. No hold. The Americans keep coming, not recklessly, relentlessly. For every Sherman destroyed, 2 more appear. For every German position revealed, artillery smothers it. The battlefield begins to feel less like a fight and more like pressure, constant, inescapable pressure. This isn't about individual tanks anymore. It's about momentum. And momentum, once lost, is hard to regain. As the Panther reverses into cover, its commander steals one last glance at the field. Burning Shermans still smoke. Yes. But beyond them, past the wrecks, past the dead, new columns are already forming. Endless, industrial, unimpressed by loss. For the first time, a thought intrudes that hadn't existed in Africa. What if the Sherman was never meant to win alone? The radio crackles again. More Americans inbound. And this time they're bringing something else with them. The artillery arrives first, not with a warning whistle, not with a dramatic pause, but with sudden violence. The hedgerow explodes as if the earth itself has been struck by a hammer. Trees splinter. Soil lifts into the air in heavy black sheets. The Panther crew braces as shock waves slam into the hull, rattling teeth, shaking optics out of alignment. This is not harassment fire. This is preparation. Somewhere miles behind the lines, American battery commanders, calm, methodical, are reading coordinates called in by forward observers riding inside Sherman turrets. Not officers on horseback, not runners with maps. Tank commanders, radios pressed to their ears, watching the battlefield from moving steel. This is new, and it is changing everything. The German position had been strong by textbook standards. Interlocking fields of fire, concealed hull-down Panthers, Panzer Grenadiers dug in close, Panzer Fausts ready. The plan was simple: let the Shermans come, kill them at range, withdraw if needed. But Normandy refuses to behave like a textbook. Visibility collapses under smoke and dust. The hedgerows block long shots. Every field becomes its own miniature battlefield, isolated, confusing, lethal. German crews fire, relocate, fire again, but each shot reveals their position. And every revealed position dies. Artillery crushes it. Shermans do not rush the Panthers head-on. They pin them. Smoke rounds bloom, thick and white, blinding optics and isolating targets. Infantry moves through the gaps, hugging the earth, slipping through breaches, blasted into the hedges by tank-mounted dozer blades. These Shermans are not alone. They are the tip of a machine. By mid-morning, the German company commander realizes something is wrong, not tactically, but mathematically. Losses are mounting, not catastrophically, not all at once, just enough to be dangerous. A Panzer IV knocked out here. A half-track burned there. A gun crew buried under artillery rubble. Replacements do not arrive. Ammunition dwindles. Fuel gauges creep downward. And still the Americans advance. Every time a Sherman burns, another one takes its place. Sometimes two. The crews are younger now, less experienced, but they come anyway, because they can. The German commander thinks of Africa again, but not the victories, the distances, the wide-open killing fields where skill and gunpowder mattered most. Normandy is different. Here, survival is about endurance, and endurance favors the side that can lose tanks without losing momentum. In one narrow field near St. Lo, a Tiger I finally enters the fight. It is magnificent, 88 millimeters of authority, thick armor, a weapon built to dominate any Allied tank foolish enough to face it. The crew is elite veterans transferred from the Eastern Front, confident, disciplined. They destroy 3 Shermans in under 5 minutes. Clean kills. The American advance pauses. The Tiger commander allows himself a breath. This is how it should be. Then the artillery comes back, heavily. Shells bracket the Tiger's position, shaking the massive machine like a toy. The crew seals hatches, trusting their armor. The Tiger survives the barrage, but when the smoke clears, the world has changed. The infantry that once supported them is gone. The Tiger is alone. Shermans do not rush it. They circle at distance, firing smoke, forcing it to turn to reveal flanks. A radio call goes out. Coordinates, corrections. A thunderclap from above. A fighter bomber screams down out of the clouds, rockets slamming into the earth near the Tiger. One detonates close enough to crack suspension components. The Tiger still lives, but it can no longer maneuver properly. Immobilized. Trapped? The crew knows what comes next. They abandon the tank under fire. By afternoon, the field belongs to the Americans. The Tiger remains silent, intact, terrifying but useless. A monument to a kind of warfare that is already ending. Across Normandy, this pattern repeats. German crews win tank duels and lose battles. They kill Shermans at ratios that would have been decisive in 1941. In 1944, it barely slows the advance. American logistics pour fuel, ammunition, and replacement vehicles through the beaches in endless streams. The Sherman was never designed to be invincible. It was designed to be replaceable, repairable. Every damaged Sherman pulled back as another returned to service within days, sometimes hours. American recovery vehicles drag them out under fire. Crews sleep beside their tanks, eat beside them, fight beside them, then climb into new ones if theirs burns. German crews do not have that luxury. A destroyed Panther is gone forever, a trained crew even more so. By July, the realization has spread through the Panzer units like a sickness. This isn't about whose tank is better. It's about whose system survives contact with reality. Late one evening, a German Panther commander listens to intercepted American radio traffic. The voices are calm, casual, reporting losses as if reading inventory, not casualties. 2 Shermans knocked out, replacements en route. Replacements? Already. He looks at his own tank scarred, low on fuel, crew exhausted. No replacement waits for them. No reserve company hums in the background. Just orders to hold, always to hold. The laughter that once followed the word Sherman is gone now, replaced by something colder. Respect. And fear, because the crews are beginning to understand the truth. The Sherman was never meant to win the war in a single fight. It was meant to win it by never stopping. And Normandy is proving that lesson, one field at a time. As night falls, American engines continue to rumble in the distance. Fresh units moving up, fresh tanks rolling forward. The Germans dig in again, but for the first time, they are digging against time itself. July 25, 1944, near Saint-Lô, 9 to 38 hours. The sky opens, not metaphorically, physically. The earth trembles as if struck by something colossal. Bombs fall in tight patterns, walking forward in deliberate lines. The noise is beyond sound, a pressure that crushes the chest and rattles thoughts loose inside the skull. Operation Cobra has begun. German positions vanish under thousands of tons of high explosives. Trenches collapse. Command posts disintegrate. Radios fall silent mid-transmission. Survivors stumble from the wreckage deaf, bleeding, disoriented. When the bombing stops, there is no pause. Shermans move. They roll through smoke and dust, engines steady, turrets scanning. Infantry follows close behind, rifles up, faces streaked with grime. This is not the cautious probing of early June. This is commitment, breakthrough. For weeks, German commanders had believed the Americans incapable of decisive action in the bocage. Too slow, too methodical, too dependent on artillery. Now those same qualities fuse into something unstoppable. Shermans fan out, exploiting gaps blasted open by bombers. Dozer tanks carve new paths through hedgerows where none existed before. Tank commanders talk continuously, calling fire, marking targets, redirecting movement in seconds. The battlefield is no longer a series of isolated skirmishes. It's a flowing front. German armor tries to respond. Panthers and remaining Tigers counterattack where they can, striking at exposed American columns. They kill Shermans, they always do. But the response is immediate. Artillery saturates suspected firing positions. Fighter bombers prowl overhead, rockets ready. Sherman units do not stop to mourn losses. They shift, bypass, isolate. German crews realize too late that they are no longer fighting tanks. They are fighting a doctrine. Near a shattered village, A German Panzer battalion attempts a coordinated counterstroke. Orders are issued, timetables drawn, units assemble under tree cover, engines idling, crews tense. Then American shells begin falling, not randomly, precisely. The assembly area becomes a killing ground before the battalion ever moves. Vehicles burn before firing a shot, survivors scatter, cohesion destroyed in minutes. This is the moment German officers begin using a word they had avoided for years. Durchbruch. Breakthrough. And once a breakthrough begins, armor superiority matters less than speed. Shermans surge through the opening, racing into open terrain beyond the hedgerows. For the first time since D-Day, Normandy feels wide, maneuverable, dangerous for the Germans. American units advance faster than German headquarters can react. Orders arrive late. Units are committed piecemeal. Fuel shortages immobilize entire formations. Panthers with empty tanks are abandoned intact. The unthinkable becomes common. A German tank commander watches American columns pour past a crossroads he was ordered to hold. He fires until his ammunition is gone, knocking out 2 Shermans, then 3. A 4th rolls forward anyway, then a 5th. The realization hits him with the weight of certainty. He is irrelevant. His skill, his gun, his armor, none of it can change what is happening. The Americans are no longer trying to defeat German tanks. They are going around them. By late July, the myth of the Sherman collapses inside the German ranks. Not the myth of weakness, but the myth of predictability. The Sherman does not fight alone. It fights with radios, artillery, engineers, aircraft, and an industrial engine that never sleeps. It fights in formations that absorb loss and continue forward without hesitation. German crews begin to report something new in their after-action notes. Not contempt, not mockery, but inevitability. The enemy advances despite heavy losses. The enemy replaces tanks immediately. The enemy pressure does not decrease. Each sentence describes the same truth from a different angle. The Sherman is not a dueling weapon. It is a tempo weapon. As August approaches, German armored units are hollowed out. The tanks that remain are scattered, underfueled, undersupported. Crews are exhausted, many replacements rushed and undertrained. Across the front, American Shermans idle briefly, not because they must, but because their infantry needs to catch up. That alone would have been unimaginable in June. The laughter is long gone now. In its place is a grim understanding spreading through German commands. Normandy was never about winning tank battles. It was about surviving a system designed to grind forward without pause. And that system is accelerating. Soon it will reach the point where stopping it is no longer possible. Some German commanders already know where this ends. They can feel it in the way the front bends, in the way retreat becomes movement, in the way orders shift from hold to delay. The Sherman, once dismissed as a death trap, has become the symbol of something far more dangerous. Momentum that cannot be reversed, and ahead beyond Normandy's broken fields waits the final trap. The one German armor will not escape. August 19, 1944. Near Falaise. Late afternoon, heat hangs over the valley, thick and unmoving. The air stinks of fuel, smoke, and rot. Flies swarm everything that doesn't move and much that does. Wrecked vehicles clog the roads in every direction, twisted together in long blackened chains. This is no battlefield anymore. It's a graveyard. German columns are trying to escape. For days, orders have contradicted each other. Advance, hold, withdraw, counterattack, then withdraw again. Fuel shortages strand vehicles by the roadside. Ammunition trucks burn where they stop. Crews abandon tanks not because they are destroyed, but because they cannot move. Shermans appear on the ridgelines like silent sentinels. Turrets scanning, radios alive with constant chatter. They do not rush. They do not panic. They wait. Artillery observers mark the roads. Fighter bombers circle lazily overhead. The trap is already shut. The Germans inside just haven't accepted it yet. Inside a Panther, a German commander grips his hatch rim, eyes fixed on the road ahead. Wrecks block the way. Panzer IVs, half-tracks, supply trucks, horse carts. Dead men lie where they fell. The smell is unbearable. Behind him, the radio crackles with fragments of orders. Break out to the east. Hold your position. Destroy vehicles and proceed on foot. None of them matter. Because the Americans control the crossings, because the Shermans have cut the exits. When firing starts, it is sudden and overwhelming. American artillery slams the road columns with methodical brutality. Vehicles erupt. Ammunition detonates. Horses scream. Men scatter into fields only to be caught by machine gun fire from Sherman. Hulls dug in on the slopes. Shermans advance slowly, deliberately, like a closing door. They do not need to charge. Time is doing the killing for them. German tanks fire back where they can, but angles are poor, targets fleeting. Even successful shots change nothing. The road remains blocked. The air remains full of American aircraft. Some German crews destroy their own tanks' charges placed. Hatches slammed, detonators pulled, just to deny the enemy intact vehicles. Others simply walk away. An American Sherman commander watches through his periscope as a Panther crew emerges from their tank, hands raised. They look filthy, hollow-eyed, defeated. He doesn't feel triumph, only a strange sense of finality. Weeks ago, men like these laughed at his tank. Now they are surrendering to it. The Falaise Pocket becomes the death of German armored power in the West. Hundreds of tanks, guns, and vehicles are destroyed or abandoned. Entire formations cease to exist. The remnants that escape are shadows, units without equipment, without cohesion, without hope of rebuilding. And everywhere in the wreckage, the same silhouette repeats. The Sherman, scarred, burned, patched with welded plates and spare track links. Some still smoking from recent fights, but moving, always moving. German reports written in the aftermath no longer mention the Sherman with contempt. The tone has shifted completely. The enemy tank appears in great numbers. The enemy replaces losses rapidly. The enemy advances regardless of casualties. They are not describing a machine anymore. They are describing inevitability. For American crews, the cost has been heavy. They know the Sherman is not perfect. They have watched friends burn. They have bailed out under fire, hearts hammering, lungs full of smoke. But they also know this. Their tank gets them there. Their tank keeps coming back. And as long as it does, the war moves forward. As August ends, the front breaks open entirely. Paris is liberated. The German army retreats in disorder toward the Seine, then beyond. The Sherman rolls through French towns, past cheering civilians, past flowers and flags and tears. It looks nothing like a superweapon. It doesn't need to. It has already done its job. And somewhere east, German commanders begin planning defenses with a new assumption at their core. Not if the Shermans come, but how many? And whether anything they have left can stop them. The answer, as Normandy has proven, is no longer encouraging. The laughter that once followed the name Sherman is gone forever. What remains is the sound of engines moving east, and the understanding too late that the war was never lost to a better tank. It was lost to a better system.